The day my father finally asked for help, I watched him stare at a hospital bill for almost 10 minutes. He wasn't reading it, he was fighting it, fighting what it meant, fighting what came next. Across from him sat a social worker. Beside him sat my mother. The fluorescent lights above us hummed softly. Nobody spoke. Then the social worker broke the silence. "Mr. Raymond, have you contacted any family members?" My father lowered the paper. For a moment, he looked older than I had ever seen him. "No?" The woman nodded gently. My father looked away. That was the moment I realized something. The illness wasn't what scared him most. The money wasn't what scared him most. What scared him most was that people might find out. My name is Edwin, and I grew up in a family that believed shame was more dangerous than suffering. My father, Raymond, was a respected school principal. My mother, Helen, was active in church. People admired our family. They called us disciplined, responsible, God-fearing. From the outside, we looked stable. Inside, we were drowning. The strange thing is that none of our problems appeared overnight. They arrived slowly, one secret at a time. I first noticed it when I was 12. My father lost a large amount of money in a business partnership. One evening, I walked into my parents' room and found them sitting silently at the edge of the bed. My mother's jewelry box lay open. Several pieces were missing. My father's face looked exhausted. When they noticed me, both immediately smiled. Too quickly, too perfectly. The kind of smile adults wear when children are not supposed to know something. A few weeks later, food portions became smaller. School expenses became difficult. Bills piled up. Yet whenever visitors arrived, my parents acted as though nothing had changed. I used to think that was strength. Now I know it was fear. The years passed. The pattern stayed. Whenever trouble appeared, silence arrived first. Then my younger sister Grace began struggling in school. Teachers suggested assessments, additional support, professional evaluation. My parents resisted, not because they didn't love her, because they worried about what people would say. Every report card became a private family battle. Every concern became another secret. Meanwhile, Grace kept falling further behind. By the time help finally arrived, years had already been lost. Then Michael happened. My older brother was funny, charming, the kind of person who could walk into a room and make strangers laugh within minutes. At first, nobody noticed the gambling, or maybe we noticed and chose not to see it. Money disappeared occasionally, then more often. Excuses became routine. Loans became normal. One evening, a man arrived at our gate. I remember because my father had just finished dinner. The man refused to leave. He kept asking for Michael. My father stepped outside. Their voices became louder, then suddenly very quiet. When my father returned, he looked pale. "Who was that?" my mother asked. "A misunderstanding," that was his answer. "A misunderstanding." Weeks later, another man came. Then another. Then phone calls started arriving at odd hours. Still nobody spoke honestly. One night, I finally confronted Michael. "How much do you owe?" He laughed. The laugh sounded forced. "Relax, I'll handle it." "You've been saying that for months." I said I'll handle it. That conversation ended exactly where most conversations ended in our family. Nowhere, because honesty was dangerous. Silence felt safer, at least temporarily. Then came the family meeting. I still remember. My father sat at the head of the table. Michael sat opposite him. Everyone knew why we were there. My father cleared his throat. "Michael, you need to be careful." That was it. No discussion, no treatment plan, no intervention, no hard questions. Just be careful. Looking back, it almost sounds unbelievable, but admitting the problem fully would have required admitting it existed. And our family could not afford shame, or so we thought. Years later, the consequences arrived all at once. Creditors became more aggressive. Debts became impossible to hide. The stress inside our home became unbearable. Then my father's health collapsed. The doctor spoke about blood pressures, stress, exhaustion, years of carrying burdens alone. I remember standing beside his hospital bed while he stared at the ceiling. For the first time in my life, he looked defeated. The bills arrived quickly, then more bills, then more. Savings disappeared, loans surfaced, old debts returned, reality cornered us. and reality demanded something our family had spent years avoiding. Honesty. My father fought it. Even in the hospital, even after everything. One afternoon, the hospital requested another major payment. The amount might as well have been ₦1,000,000. We didn't have it, my mother cried quietly. Michael stared at the floor. Nobody knew what to do. That evening, my father called the entire family together. Uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody. The room felt heavy. For a long time, he simply sat there. Then he began speaking, and once he started, he didn't stop. He told them about the business loss, the debts, the years of financial pressure, Michael's gambling problem, the hospital bills, the fear, the exhaustion, everything. No filters, no performance, no pretending, just truth. When he finished, nobody spoke. My father looked embarrassed, almost ashamed, as though he expected judgment. Instead, my uncle stood up and walked across the room. Then he placed a hand on my father's shoulder. You should have told us years ago. That was all. No insults, no humiliation, no mockery, just sadness. Then something remarkable happened. People started helping, not because we suddenly deserved help, because help had been available all along. Some relatives contributed money, others offered advice. Someone connected Michael with a recovery program. Others helped organize treatment support. Within days, solutions began appearing. Not perfect solutions, but real ones. And all because somebody finally told the truth. That realization hurt. For years, we had suffered in isolation because of fears that mostly existed inside our own minds. Were there people who gossiped? Of course, there always are. But their gossip never damaged us as much as our silence did. Michael eventually entered treatment. Recovery was messy, slow, painful, but real. Grace finally received the support she needed. My father's condition improved significantly. Most importantly, our family changed. Not overnight, but steadily. We stopped treating vulnerability like weakness. We stopped treating honesty like failure. We stopped confusing appearances with health. A few years later, during a church event, someone approached my father. "You are blessed," the man said. "You raised a perfect family." My father laughed. A genuine laugh, the kind that comes from finally putting down a heavy load. Later that evening, we sat outside together. The event had ended. The compound was quiet. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then he said something I will never forget. "Edwin, I spent years protecting our reputation." He paused. "I should have been protecting the family." The words landed heavily between us. Because they were true, we spent years defending an image while real problems multiplied behind it. Today, our family still faces challenges. We still argue. We still struggle. We still have difficult seasons. But one thing has changed. When something is wrong, we talk. When somebody needs help, we ask. When life becomes too heavy, we stop pretending it isn't. Looking back now, I realized the gambling wasn't what nearly destroyed us. The debts weren't what nearly destroyed us. Even the illness wasn't what nearly destroyed us. What nearly destroyed us was the belief that suffering quietly was somehow more honorable than seeking help. It wasn't. The years taught me two lessons I will never forget. First, there is a difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy protects dignity. Secrecy protects problems. Second, shame survives in darkness. Healing survives in truth. For a long time, our family believed we could not afford shame. The truth was much simpler. We could not afford silence.